Guys, hello and welcome to my Tuesday conference, my Tuesday training call. Ted Keys, your host and top freight sales training expert here in Southern California. Today's training topic is how you stop from staying broke. One more time, how you stop from staying broke. So let's talk about how you stop from staying broke. How do you stop from staying broke? Well, let me first say this. It's a process, okay? It's a process to go from a broke mentality to a profitable mentality. And one of the things is I never blame or fault someone for being poor, okay? Never blame that. When you come in and become a freight sales agent with our office, I'm ready to take you from brokenness to successfulness. But I don't tolerate freight sales agents who continue to stay in that mindset that being poor is their condition. And unfortunately, that's the case. They come in, with this condition that, hey, I want to be a freight sales agent. I want to be a successful freight sales agent. It's getting them out of that mindset to become successful. Being born is not your fault, but staying poor is. Let me say that again. Being born poor is not your fault, but staying poor is. Staying poor with that poor mindset is your fault. Throughout my life, I've built my success, or I should say the latter part of my life in this profession, I've built my success by showing others how to successfully multiply their income through freight sales. And when you join our office and when you actually latch onto the train that I give you, you eventually change your mindset as you make more contact with the marketplace, move more loads, and then become a better negotiator in the process. But I've heard the worst excuses, worst excuses from people that have come in. They say this, that they're handicapped, okay? They say that they're addicted to drugs or they've been addicted to drugs. They say that they're in way too much debt. Well, I'll tell you this. If you're in debt, this is the way to get out of debt. Because when I got into this, I was severely in debt. Here's the thing. My mindset was, I am going to get out of this. And if that's what you're thinking, okay, I'm in debt, well, this is the profession to get you out of debt. I've heard it all right? There's nothing so severe that you can't overcome and create massive success. But absolutely make no mistake, guys, it won't be easy. If you think you're going to come into this because some truck driver told you how great their buddy is, moving freight or brokering freight, just get that out of your mind. This takes effort. All right, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a scheme where when you know nothing, you've got to take these little bites up that ladder to success. And for the most part, those ladders, they're very thin. Okay, it's one skill. It's learning one skill after another, after another, after another. Even if you have everything going for you, success, as I said in this industry, in this profession, will not be easy. And success is not a right. We don't have this right to be successful. We have this right to go through the process to become successful. For those of you that have, played a sport, I say this all the time. When do you ever show up to play a sport and they move you up to the varsity team? It doesn't happen. You start at the bottom with the first graders, the third graders, whatever it is. If you're in soccer, if you're in football, you start with those at your level. In this profession, you start at the bottom, not knowing anything, okay? Every freight sales agent has the same opportunity, all right, to achieve success, but you have to be willing to work above and beyond what most other freight sales agents are doing as well. And here's the thing, most other freight sales agents are in the 95% category. They're just struggling, moving along, not getting on a call like this. Even though they know the call is available, Their mentality is, yeah, it'll just seep into my mind by osmosis. It'll just sift in there, and all of a sudden I'll become successful. And this is the problem with our culture and our society today. We just have this idea that I'm special. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. In God's eyes, you are special. But when it comes to earning an income, you're no different than anybody else. So just to think that, hey, this guy told me that guy is doing great, that means that I'm going to do great. Get that out of your mind. It's not going to happen. What's going to bring you to greatness and out of brokenness and the poorhouse is you taking this instrument here, following guidelines, following my Freight Sales Success Guide, for example, and following all the little intricate details that are in there to pick up this phone and have the most effectiveness while you're doing it. So, I'm going to go over some basic rules to start your path toward freight sales success. Again, I'm just basic rules. I'm going to go over 3 points, 3 rules that's going to get you on that path to freight sales success. The first rule is this. You've got to convince others of your point of view. Let me say that again. You must convince others of your point of view. This is the basic tenet of selling. Selling is making contact with others and convincing them of your point of view. Now, what's your point of view? For the most part, your point of view is you provide superior freight service in the freight industry. That's your point of view. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. That's your point of view. What you have to do is you have to convince others of your point of view. You have to learn how to effectively sell your point of view to others, i.e. your prospects. If you don't convince others on what you believe, then you'll only be at the mercy of everyone else. So you have to convince others of your point of view. Let me just say it again. Your point of view is, hey, I am a great freight sales agent and I give superior service. Now, why do you give superior service? Because you put forth the effort to give superior service. I mean, your company may claim that it gives superior service. However, that superior service comes down to the effort that you put into your profession. So again, the first rule is you have to convince others of your point of view. Do that rule and you'll start making your way out of the poorhouse and you'll stop that cycle of being broke. Rule number 2, guys, grab the freight industry's attention, okay? In order to be successful and stop being poor, stop from staying poor, you have to grab the freight industry's attention. How do you do that? Well, it starts with this, for one thing. People come into this thinking, hey, I'm going to advertise and get customers on Facebook. I'm going to get customers on LinkedIn. I'm going to get customers on Twitter. Here's the downside of that. Most everybody thinks that. And they just think by doing all these different postings throughout the day that that's what's going to get attention. What's going to get attention initially is you picking up this phone and dialing numbers, talking to prospects, and asking them a series of questions that will either get them to think, hey, I require this guy's service, or you know what, hey, I've got boxes, he ships by the pallet, I don't require service. But the only way you'll find out is by actually picking this up and dialing numbers and talking to decision makers that have the ability to make that decision to call you. Now, you don't just do it once. You continue to do it. You keep doing it over and over and over again. Again, my Freight Sales Success Guide shows you that. Hey, my minimum is 3 contacts a day. However, I suggest you go above that minimum and start out with 10 contacts a day. What does 10 times 5 mean? Or what does that equal? It equals 50 a week. Start and continue to follow up with those folks that you've made contact with, and eventually they will give you the opportunity to quote their freight loads. But you have to grab the freight industry's attention. And you got to start here and keep getting more and more attention. So the first thing you have to do is you have to convince others, all right, through selling of your point of view. Your point of view is you provide superior service as a freight sales agent or a freight sales broker in the freight industry. Second thing is you have to grab the freight industry's attention by continuing to get your message out to the freight industry market. And hey, all of our messages are different. One's message may be, I only move LTL. Another's message is, I only do flatbed loads. Another message may be, I only do reefer loads, or a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I specialize in reefer. Another one's message is dry van. Once you figure out what your message is, then you can start making your way into that niche. However, you have to start making your way into it. Only through little and then bigger successes do you start getting out of this broken, poor mindset. Rule number three. Rule number three is to be persistent. You have to keep doing this over and over and over and over again. You have to keep doing it daily. As I said earlier, this profession is not easy, nor is any other profession. Don't think that, hey, I'm not doing well here, it's going to be better somewhere else. Wherever you plant your butt, okay, you have to A, convince others of your point of view, B, grab that industry's attention, in this case the freight industry, and C, be persistent. This is the rule that people are quickest to stop following. Why? Because they just think that by making a phone call that they should get that, that they should quote that rate or move that load. Your prospect, your decision maker does not know you yet. If you talk to anyone who has been successful, they'll tell you that one of the most important keys is to be persistent. Make those calls over and over again. I'll repeat the statistic as I do on every single call. 80%. Again, 80% of your sales will come between your 5th and your 12th contact. That is persistence, okay? By continuing to follow up over and over again, by being persistent, eventually your prospect will give you the opportunity. Why? Because they see your persistence. Most freight sales agents that call them once or twice and then they quit. See, that just represents our society and culture. It's the ones that continue to be persistent, those eventually get the attention. If you think that it's going to be quick and easy process, then you will be quickly disappointed. 3 rules again. First one is convince others of your point of view. Again, this will get you out of that broken, poor state. Convince others of your point of view. How do you do that? You do it through the profession of selling. Second, grab the freight industry's attention in whatever market that you're going into. The third, just keep doing it, repeating it over and over again. Be persistent. Prepare yourself for a long and grueling process. This will not happen overnight. It's not, depending on the amount of effort that you put in, it's not going to happen in 3 months. It's not going to happen in 6 months, 9 months, a year. It's only going to happen as you put forth the effort to become successful. And only after becoming successful, after actually moving somebody's freight by either flatbed, dry van, reefer, whatever, maxi, do you become successful, and eventually you get out of that broken state of poorness. Being poor, again, it's not your fault, but it is your fault by staying there. It's not your fault initially. It is your fault if you continue to stay there. You must decide that it's not how you want to live anymore. Make a decision, all right? The saying goes, get off your butt. Well, in our profession, you get on your butt and you get on the phone. Make a decision that, hey, I am not going to stay poor anymore. By taking these actions, you'll take the first steps to getting on the path to massive success and out of your brokenness. Great topic today. Thanks again for joining my Tuesday training call. I'll do it again, same time, next week at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time on my Tuesday training call. Take care. God bless. I'll see you all again next week on my Tuesday training call. Bye-bye.